BBC Radio 4. I'm John Manell. IPM, the programme that starts with its listeners, is investigating what happened to Elsie Frost. Elsie was murdered on the 9th of October 1965. She was 14. The murderer hasn't been caught. So, who killed Elsie Frost?
Hello and welcome to IPM, the programme that starts with its listeners. And this week, the experience of our listener Anne Cleave and her brother Colin Frost. 50 years ago, when they were both growing up in Wakefield, Anne and Colin's lives were turned upside down when their sister, Elsie, who was 14, was murdered. Anne and Colin have been telling IPM about that time. There are parts of our conversation you might find upsetting.
We had a great childhood. We went everywhere together as a family. My father had a motorbike and sidecar when I was small. We used to just go off on the motorbike and sidecar for the day, and we'd picnic and
on the roadside.
Picnic on the roadside, yes. Go off to Scarborough.
Can you remember? What do you have to eat?
My mother cooked. We took everything with us. She took a Primus stove with a kettle and a frying pan, and we'd set off early in the morning and then aim for a specific place, and my dad would say, right, we'll stop at that lay-by. And then my mother would cook up breakfast.
I can picture it now. I know exactly where we stopped.
It was called Hook Moor.
Yeah.
It's probably now a roundabout on the A1M or something. But inevitably, we were going over to the East Coast. We always we went on holiday to the East Coast, caravanning. So that was good.
Tell me about Elsie.
Bright girl. Very, very pretty.
Slim.
Yeah. In fact, I think she would have outshone both of us. I feel that. I feel that she would have outshone both of us.
I would agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
From what I can remember, and she played the part of mum to me for a while. Once Anne had got married and moved away, I had mum, I had Anne, and then I had Elsie, all as mums. She was able to teach me things very, very quickly. And as an example, fastening my shoelaces. And I did it the first time, and it was never forgotten. But it was the way that she described it. She just had an ability to be able to communicate, but she cared, you see, that's the thing. She was a very, very caring person. And she would have gone on to do that later on in life. She'd have just cared about people.
I'll bet she comes to mind sometimes when you're tying your shoelaces, does she?
Every time. Every time, I promise you, absolutely every time. It really does, because that is actually the last memory that I have of her. Sat in the kitchen at Manhague Road where we lived, and she showed me, and I did it all in one go.
I hesitate because those sound such lovely memories to bring you to the horror that's brought us to this conversation. Where do you want to start with this? What do you want to tell me about what happened? Strangely enough, at 6, I was probably the first to know that there was something wrong. I was playing out in the street that day. So was it a weekend? It was a Saturday, playing out in the street, as I say, which we did all the time. It was safe there. And a police car pulled up outside. Dad had been working, he was in bed. He'd been working nights and he was in bed. Mum was watching the television, which she liked doing on an afternoon, Saturday and Sunday afternoon. And I saw the policeman. I'm fairly certain there was a policeman and a policewoman. Knock on the door, no reply. Knock on the door, no reply. So I went across and I let them in. And if you can picture the house, you walked in through the front door, which we very rarely used actually. It was always the side door, which led to the bottom of the stairs. And to the left was the living room. And the policeman and police lady asked if I could see Mum and Dad. So I brought them in. I saw the police lady go to Mum, and what was said I don't know, but I just saw my mum fall forward, obviously giving the bad news. And then the policeman who was stood with me at the bottom of the stairs, he said, just go upstairs and tell your daddy that Elsie's had an accident. Then that's what I did. I went upstairs into the bedroom and I stood at the end of his bed, and you know, as a 6-year-old would say, Daddy, Elsie's had an accident. And Dad, from being soundly asleep to wide awake and rushing past me, that happened in seconds, straight past me,